so nice to be all together here. This session will be a little bit different than the main session. So if you are able to join us with video, we'd love to see all of your faces since we can't be together. I'm Kathy Haas, Associate Dean for External Relations and Global Programs at MIT Sloan. It's so great to be with so many Sloanies tonight. It's no replacement for being in person, but it is good to see all of you. So I'll start by sharing something that Dean Schmidt-Line shared with the community a couple of weeks ago that we've been hearing really resonated with folks and has been a hallmark for our community this fall. And he says, a year like this can reveal the true character of a community. Here at MIT Sloan, these qualities are resilience, inventiveness, and compassion, all of which are essential to the school's mission to develop principled, innovative leaders who change the world. Our community routinely employed all three against the difficulties of the year past and will continue to do so in the challenges ahead. So much of that is so important to this community. And so I hope you walk away tonight with four things. Confidence that the state of your school is strong, a little bit about our current priorities, some on how to engage with us over the coming months, and a few innovations in health that our faculty are working on. So we'll spend about the first 10 minutes of presentation and then hopefully leave some time for some conversation and question and answer at the end. I am joined by my colleague, Lauren Watchton tonight, who will help manage question and answer. Lauren is our Director of Alumni Experience. And so to kick us off, if you wouldn't mind sharing in the chat your name, your program and year, and where you're calling in from today. So we'd love some participation from the audience. For now, I will take us to E62, or 100 Main Street in Cambridge. That is a building that was open for in-person classes this past fall and will be again in just a couple of weeks. We were led by our faculty who helped us create a safe work environment and optimize the spaces that we had. So Professor Retzef Levy helped design wellness and policy in our buildings to keep everyone safe. Professor Dimitris Bertsimas and Dean of Analytics helped optimize the classroom space with his PhD students. It was quite a constraint to only be able to have 22 people in each of our classrooms and offer an in-person experience. But the technology investments that we made when we built E62 10 years ago were truly remarkable in this case in offering the student experience, both on campus and abroad. Sloan also launched a testing site that helped test our students twice per week and ultimately was adopted and scaled for the entire university in Johnson Athletic Center. We were the only leading school open for the full fall semester. And we heard from our peer schools that we set the gold standard for that in-person experience. Our biggest challenge was off-campus activity that couldn't be controlled for. So we did have positive cases toward the end of the semester. That key learning though, around students craving in-person experiences and the connections that so many of you made in your networking and co-curricular activities is something that we've adapted for this spring. So we will offer 142 in-person classes with over 2,700 seats on campus. It has made me so proud to be part of a team of 45 that has done this on campus. So thinking about the students that occupied our building this fall and made up our classes, I'll turn to admissions. And our admissions is strong for all 6 of our programs. In fact, some of our programs are over-enrolled in this year. I'll give you a little snapshot of the MBA class of 2021. There are 460 MBAs, including the LGO program, Leaders for Global Operations, or formerly known as LFM. Their average GMAT score was 730. They come from 54 countries around the world, are 41% international and 41% of the class is women. So when we think back, that may also open up the question for you. How did the graduates do that graduated this spring? I'm here to tell you that 96% of them have had full-time job offers within 3 months of graduation. It was an incredible spring, both for students and for the staff in the Career Development Office supporting them. The top 3 industries that they went to were tech, consulting, and finance. Those students have also been very, very passionate about diversity, equity, and inclusion for a number of years. And so now I'll share a little bit with you about what the school is doing on that front. You've probably seen some of the email communications from Dean Schmidtlein and others, as well as our newly launched diversity website. This really started 2 years ago with our alumni board. They worked on a project with our admissions department to increase the pipeline of candidates applying to Sloan and diversify it. That then rolled into a task force that included staff, faculty, alumni, and students that put forth a set of recommendations to Dean Schmidtlein in February of 2020. That led to the hiring of Associate Dean Ray Reagans and Associate Dean Fiona Murray to lead us in this new initiative. Their vision for DEI at Sloan is to move from unconscious bias to conscious inclusion. The actions of the school and these groups, all represented through faculty, staff, alumni, and student committees, are listed on the school's diversity website and will continue to be updated as we take action through the spring. So moving down the street just a little bit from 100 Main Street to Kendall Square, or the Innovation District, MIT has put up 6 new buildings. It will be hard for you to recognize and wayfind the next time you join us there. But it is a beautiful, beautiful space. In November of 2020, a new graduate school dorm opened up in Kendall Square. It is the tallest building in Cambridge and has over 450 units for our graduate students across MIT, and yes, at Sloan. Right outside the Kendall Square T-Stop is the new innovation headquarters, which is the MIT Press building that will also house MIT undergraduate admissions and serve as another front door for MIT. Just across the way on the other side of the T-Stop is the MIT Museum. We can't wait to host you there. So when I think about broadening even further away from MIT, it makes me think of hearing from so many alumni over the last year and how they can help each other, how they can help the school, and be in touch with our students. Our Career Development Office has partnered with the Alumni Board and with many of our alumni to create an industry advisors program, some in retail, VC, health, and tech. This has been an incredible resource for alumni, helping our students navigate this challenging time. That group has doubled in size this year. And if any of you are interested, we would love to talk to you about the Industry Advisors Program. This fall, we heard from Action Learning and our faculty who were stressed about launching the organizational processes course without the number of projects that we needed. 86 alumni projects were sourced through that outreach, and I couldn't be more proud of the alumni that stepped forward for that. We've been hearing from Sloanies who are at home who can now offer virtual internships to folks who would normally not be able to hire an intern to travel to their office. And our Career Development Office continues to be interested in hearing about more Sloanies helping Sloanies in this way. Our MIT Sloan clubs have been busy offering virtual programming all over the world, and that is offered to all MIT alumni, no matter where you are in this environment. So we hope you might join us there. We've heard from a lot of you that you want to hear from more Sloan graduates. And so we launched a podcast about 2 years ago, Sloanies Talking to Sloanies. If you haven't heard it or listened to it yet, it is incredible, and we can share the link with you. We have some live online sessions coming up our monthly Inclusive Innovation Economy series hosted by Professor Fiona Murray. We also have the MIT Social Media Summit coming up on April 22nd. And we hope that you'll join us for our virtual reunion if your class year ends in a 1 or a 6. Those reunion volunteer committees are still forming, and we'll drop the link to our email address if you'd like to get more involved or hear more in the chat. So I will close with 3 faculty projects that link to our theme for tonight. And as Dean Huttenlocher said about machine learning, we have so many faculty working both in analytics, but also on the machine learning side on health-related projects. I'll start with Professor Georgia Parakis, who co-leads the Operations Research Center, which jointly reports to the Schwarzman College and to the Sloan School. Her project predicts disease prevalence and new infections by collecting state-by-state data, marrying epidemiology data along with machine learning for a 3-part weighted algorithm that helps predict where new infections will pop up. Professor Kate Kellogg, Retzef Levy, and Simon Johnson all launched the COVID-19 Policy Alliance this past spring. This analyzes pandemic data, identifies facilities that may be at high risk, and creates a playbook for nursing homes to deploy on in response. And finally, Professor Joe Doyle. Joe has been working on using business practices to improve access to food through his Fresh Food Pharmacy project. Has over 300 participants in it, and they would like to eradicate type 2 diabetes, both through access to food and to cooking classes. So with that, our faculty are continuing to invent the future at MIT Sloan. And I share Eric Grimson's enthusiasm from the beginning. It's been so incredible to see faculty all over MIT, of course, working on COVID-related projects, but also in many, many different areas of health. With that, we could turn to the chat, and I see it's been quite active, but I haven't been monitoring any questions. Lauren, do we have any questions come in?
Thank you so much for that update, Kathy. One question, we have at least one Sloan undergraduate alumna in the room and maybe a few more. So was wondering about the state of the undergraduate program in addition to the grad school. So I know that this year there are 133 undergraduate students majoring in course 15 and 54 undergraduate students with a minor. And I think that 36% of course 15 students are actually double majors. So lots of rock stars out there as usual. I didn't know if there was anything else you wanted to add about the undergraduate program.
I do know that, thank you for those incredible stats that I did not have right off the top of my head. The enrollment in course 15 courses has tripled over the last 2 years with the offerings primarily in analytics. But really across the school. So less to do with majors and minors, but definitely a lot of interest in that. And actually Professor Bertzimis, who I mentioned before, is offering this spring for the first time to undergraduates, Analytics for a Better World. It's a little bit like the D-Lab project where students are asked to work on a project that impacts more than 1 million people. And so that I think the student stories, look out for all of the projects that they're going to be working on. We will be sharing them, I'm sure, on our website because our students are our undergraduate students and our graduate students, but in particular, that course is over enrolled for the spring already.
Thanks, Kathy. Another question that you mentioned that there are now 6 programs. What are those programs? I'm sorry, I'm not sure what that's connected to.
Oh, it's probably the admission. So
perfect, thank you.
Sure. So we have our MBA program, our Sloan Fellows program. We have an executive MBA program, which is the complement to the Sloan Fellows program. The Sloan Fellows program is primarily, has been in the past primarily international. And so the executive MBA program is an every 3-week program in regular times when people come to campus and travel and do all of those things. It's a 22-month program that also comes in residence over 2 summers. for 2 weeks. We have the Masters of Finance program. We have the Leaders for Global Operations, and we have that's part of the MBA program. But that's for, it used to be the Leaders for Manufacturing program. We have the Masters of Business Analytics program and the Masters of Finance. Did I say that all right? Great.
I think so. Great job. All right, so we just got a great question from an alum in Japan. Welcome, thanks for tuning in from so far away. Does Sloan plan to have a mix of virtual and quote unquote real or in-person reunion after COVID-19? So this is a great question. This year, as many reunion year alumni should have seen in an email last week, reunion will be online. We had great success with doing that with the classes last year, and we're looking forward to this year. However, we know that people want to gather in person. So what we're hoping to do is, whenever it's safe, to plan some alumni events in major markets around the world. And I know you're typing in from Japan, and Tokyo is one of our biggest spaces for alumni. So hopefully we will be somewhere nearby to have big events for alumni where they can gather, and specifically have some reunion type events around that. So we won't have an official makeup reunion for anyone on campus, but we are planning some way for alumni to gather where they are around the world. So I hope that gets to your question. We are, believe me, as eager to travel and see you as you are to come back to campus. So we really miss doing things like this in person.
Thank you so much, Lauren.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Well, we miss you too.
It's really nice to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes the questions in the chat. So if anyone would like to unmute, Kathy and I are here. We'd be happy to talk with you. If you want to pop into one of the other breakout sessions to catch the last few minutes, please feel free. It's been really lovely spending this time with you tonight.
And until we can be together, everyone, please be well.
I'm curious as to, are we seeing like a change in industries for the MBA program, and then also for undergraduates, where they're going to after graduation?
I can speak to the, actually, is Susan on the call?
I don't see her, no.
Our assistant dean for career development was maybe going to join us for one of the sessions, so she may have been in the last one. But it's been pretty steady that the top 3 industries for the master's program, or MBA in particular, have been tech, primarily big tech, consulting, and finance specifically. I know less about the undergraduate choices, although I do know that startup continues to be a particularly interesting path for, and fintech specifically, I believe 2 years ago was really jumped from way down the list to way up the list for undergrads specifically, but it's held pretty strong around what I would say is the highway of larger firms that have more structured opportunities. What's been really interesting is to see for our master's level students, about 30% of them report joining a firm that has is more than 10 years old, but has less than 50 employees. And so they are really interesting problems, tackling really usually technical problems, and are looking to bring in an MBA as the first sort of more business-like hire. And so that has changed dramatically, I would say, over the last 5 years specifically.
To you, Kathryn, and to you, Lauren, what do you teach at the Sloan School of Management again? I mean, I'm not here at the first half.
Oh, sure. So Lauren and I work with our alumni and friends. And so we're actually not faculty.
That's why you don't recognize us.
All right. That will be fine. Thanks. And I was wondering, right now, all right, this session isn't. Sorry, I'm gonna mute.
Any other final comments or questions before we close for the evening?
Sorry, sorry about that. I mean, that means you're not working at the mission office of the Sloan School of Business.
No, we're not in admissions.
Oh, all right. So now I first introduce myself. Right now I'm living in Calgary, Canada. Right now, and I work at 3D printers industry. I'm right now working at the 3D printer service center in Calgary, Canada, and I have also developed a product of my own called 3D Printers Auto-Off Switcher.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for introducing yourself. So I think at 8:28, that's all the time we have for this evening. So Michael, I did see one question for you in the chat about an MIT alum seeking guidance from current or former Sloan students on entrepreneurship concepts. Kathy, do you have any thoughts about?
Yeah, I just put in the chat VMS because actually Roman Lubinsky, who runs the program right now, that is a program focused on helping alumni in this way. He would be an absolutely great person to start with. He runs the venture mentoring service and program at MIT.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you all again for turning out tonight. We're really happy to see you, and hopefully it will be in person soon.
That would be great. Take care.
Have a wonderful evening.